Hello, I'm David Baddiel and welcome back to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
David Baddiel, welcome back to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
I'm a bit tired.
Are you?
Yes, I am 55, you know.
I do know.
I've been practicing that because I've got to the age where I tell people my age, and apparently that is 55. I thought it was 63, but it turns out to be 55 when you start saying, I'm this age, you know. And so as a result, because I'm performing every night, or nearly every night, I'm tired. This is my second appearance on the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Very true.
And you can probably see, if scientists in future years might go back to the first episode that I was on, and they'd see how sprightly I was when I was 53, and really up for it and happy to perform every night in perpetuity. Now I'm just a bit knackered.
Yeah.
We're
still recovering from the first interview and the shock and excitement of it.
Yeah, no, it was at Aldershot, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I mean, that is exciting. More exciting than Aldershot, can you?
Very well remembered. And, the walk from Aldershot station was elaborate.
It wasn't elaborate, it was depressing.
It was.
Yeah, it was really depressing. But the show was all right. You're coming to the show tonight, aren't you?
I hope so.
Yeah, you are, but I think I might have to tell my tour manager that you're coming, because I think I've told her that you were coming, but she seems to have no knowledge of it. So either I didn't tell her, because I'm 55, you know, or something has gone wrong in the communication. But don't worry, I'll get you in.
Well, thank you, and as long as they know you're coming, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm definitely coming, because it's over there.
It's true. I walked on the stage earlier.
Yeah, I mean, if I can't make it over there, then I am too old to perform.
If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, apparently.
And also Portsmouth, which is actually where we are.
It's true, we are in Portsmouth this time.
That'll confuse people, because that suggested we're in New York. Yeah, but actually we're in Portsmouth. We're at Portsmouth Guildhall. Now,
Is there one of them in New York, though? Because there's a Southampton in New York, bizarrely.
Is there? What, a place called Southampton?
Southampton, and more confusingly, apparently it has a beach, or it's near a beach.
New York State, not in Manhattan.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, that happens, because I was born in New York, upstate, in Troy, and there's also another one of them in Greece, or is that in just Greek mythology? Is that actually a Troy?
Well, there's definitely a Brad Pitt film of it.
Yeah, there's a Brad Pitt film, and there's also a Homeric myth in which a Trojan horse goes into Troy and screws things up for them.
Now they mostly go into computers.
Who does?
Trojan horses.
They do. Good point. God, you've kept it up to date.
Thank you so much.
From BC to AD.
Thank you so much. I don't really listen to that kind of music, but.
But nonetheless, yeah, Troy. I was born there in New York, and it's about 2 hours from anywhere interesting in New York State. And I don't know if there's a Portsmouth in New York. Is the answer to your question about 15 minutes ago?
Yes. Well, we can find out for the threequel, can't we? That will be the opening.
Yeah, for the threequel. Did you say we're having a threequel?
I'd like to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's such a lovely time.
Well, that would involve me doing another tour, and I don't know if I am, because then I'll be 58, and then God knows what I'll have to
57 perhaps.
Yeah, or even 57, and then I'll have to do old age homes, I suspect.
I think that's good.
Yeah. But yes, for the threequel, definitely. So
Benedict Cumberbatch for old age homes as well.
So you've come from Southampton today?
Yes.
Just down the road?
It's true.
But not the one in New York, that wouldn't be down the road.
No.
It'd be a long way.
Still a road.
No, there's a sea in the way.
Well, an ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an ocean. What's the difference between a sea and an ocean?
Well, the spelling.
That's true, the spelling is quite different, isn't it?
Ironically, ocean has got a C in it.
It has got a C in it, but you know what? I've got to this age. I'll stop mentioning my age in a minute, and I don't know the difference.
It's the first time you said it.
Yeah, I might think so. That's all I can remember. I don't know the difference between a sea and an ocean. No. That's rubbish, isn't it? There must be some difference between them. I mean, I know they're both bodies of water.
Does a sea connect two countries and an ocean connect continents? Or is that a vowel thing? I don't know. Ask Rachel Riley, she'll know about it.
Clear that I don't know what the difference is, so I don't know why you're asking me.
Exactly. Well, that's the body of most of my questions, is about that.
It's about water.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, speaking of which, after last time we spoke, you wrote God's Dice, which was a play at the Soho Theatre. Very exciting, Alan Davies. Yeah. How did that go? What was the experience like? Would you consider writing another?
Yeah, I really loved it, actually. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant experience. Alan Davies was fantastic in it, as were the rest of the cast. I really liked the whole thing of doing a play, and I am hoping that it will transfer at some point and be seen again, that play. But meanwhile, I am going to write another play, I think, at some point.
God's Abacus?
God's Abacus, yeah, because we're going to move from Dice to Abacus. Eventually, I'm going to write a threequel, which will be God's Quantum Computer.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. It's all about whether or not God can add up. That's what it's about.
Does it all add up with God?
There's a prequel called God Counting on His Fingers. Yeah. And I felt he should move on from that, considering he's really old. Yeah.
You're really into Phil Collins for some reason.
God is?
Yeah.
Is he?
Well, Genesis.
No, it's quite different. And I know about Genesis.
Yeah.
Can I stop you there? I'm quite a big Genesis fan.
I noticed.
When?
Because on your documentary, which I watched the other day, there's a Genesis box set on the shelf.
Yeah, you're not the only person to notice that. Al Murray, who's a big Genesis fan, said...
Been on my show twice too.
Oh, well, there we go. Al Murray said that the most comforting thing about, not a very comforting documentary, it's the documentary about Holocaust denial, was the presence of a Genesis box set on my bookshelves. But I tell you what that proves. It's that I don't, when I'm on telly, rearrange my bookshelves to look cool.
Absolutely.
Because then I might have put, I don't know, a tricky box set there. That's a very out-of-date reference, isn't it? That's that. A Stormzy would have been better.
Stormzy, yeah.
Stormzy, has he got a box set? I don't know.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah, probably. But, something cool. But no, that I left it as is, and there was a Genesis thing there. But you're right, God presumably does like Phil Collins because of Genesis.
I think so.
Yeah, he probably does. But he can't count, that's the trouble. Anyway, God's Dice, I did that. It was great. I did enjoy it a lot. And I would like to write another play. I quite like plays.
Yeah. I looked when it first came out and it sold out pretty much straight away. It's very hard to get tickets to. It's very good.
Yeah, it did sell out. It's a small theatre, though, Soho Theatre. It's not like selling out Wembley Arena for a month, because that's God's Dice was on for a month. It's not like that. It's only 200 seats, but it did well, and people really liked it in general. It was quite complicated because it's a play about physics and religion, two subjects that I've always been quite obsessed with religion as an atheist. Always been quite obsessed with religion, and then I become very obsessed with physics in the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
Yes, it's interesting.
I think partly because if you are an atheist, and I'm going to mention my age again, and you start to think about like life.
An atheist.
Yeah, I am very good about life and the universe and everything. As you get old, you think like, what does it all mean? Religion can't offer you an answer.
Right.
Only one thing can offer you an answer, and that's science, physics primarily, and also physics is kind of the cool thing, because like, who wants to like go for all the answers to botany? Like, who's going to do that?
I mean, it's a funny show, but I mean, you don't get many answers from it.
No, exactly.
Come out.
What show? Bottom, you're thinking of, right? That's quite a long way from that original word, isn't it? Bottom, botany.
Not that far.
It's like two different syllables.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I prefer the ocean and sea joke.
Thank you so much.
Of those jokes. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I look forward to hearing any of yours. So.
Well, that's a whole show. It's going to be 2 hours of them.
I know, I genuinely am looking forward to it.
Okay, well, that was so
Got out of that, I know, it was, and it also worked in 2 ways.
Yeah, it worked in 2 ways, that's good. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, we'll write a play. I think that was your original question, will I write another play? Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you were in Taskmaster Series 9, which is very fun. What was your favourite tasks in the show?
That's a good question. It was sort of more to do, not so much my favourite task, more to do with what happened when they went out, it was a very interesting experience for me, because my wife, Morwenna Banks, has always said that I am possibly on some kind of spectrum, and I've never really agreed with that. And then I would sit there, because in Taskmaster they play film of you doing the tasks, and I would watch other people do the tasks quite well, and then I would think, that's how normal people would have done it. I see it. Whereas I appear to have tried to lasso Alex Horne by putting wooden spoons on the lasso, right? And that seemed like totally logical to me when I was doing it. But then when Greg Davies was talking about it, he would say, "Why did you do that?" And I wouldn't really know. It seemed very obvious at the time. There's another moment which I just saw the other day, because someone's put together David Baddiel's best Taskmaster bits on YouTube, and I look at it. There's a thing where you had to put ice lollies in a rainbow shape according to their colour, but you were blindfold. Right, now how would you do that?
Very carefully.
Yeah, but what would be your instinct if you were blind? How would you find out
which one they are?
Yeah.
Well, smell and taste.
It's interesting you said smell, because that's the point. Is I smelt them, and then Alex Horne said, "Why are you smelling them?" And I said, "Because I'm trying to work out what flavours they are, so I can work out how to put them in a rainbow." He said, "Is there another thing you can do?" And I hadn't thought about tasting them, but you did say smell. So no one else smelt them. No. I spent a long time smelling them. They were wasting a lot of time because it was against the clock. And eventually I realised you could taste them, and that is probably the primary thing to do when you're trying to find out the flavour of an ice lolly. Here, fifth is ask someone what colour is this?
Ideally.
Please tell me, Alex. Yeah. I mean, there was another thing that happened. That I think that people realised how shit I was going to be on Taskmaster when me and Joe Brand had to do one task, and it was quite small what you had to do. You just had to do various things like make a cup of tea and go here and do that. But I didn't realise, because I'm quite literal in some respects, that it was against the clock.
Yes.
So part of it was making a cup of tea and a sandwich. So I thought, well, I'm going to enjoy this.
Oh, yeah.
So I made the cup of tea and I sat down. Tea was boiled. It took a little while to drink because it was hot.
Joe Brand went for a wee.
Yeah, it actually went for a wee. And they started playing. When they played it, what they actually played was sort of silly old people music. Sort of, Last of the Summer Wine style music. And I did point out this is not fair.
Yeah.
Because
you were only 54 at the time, so...
54 at the time, I was a young buck. And nonetheless, they were making me look like an old fuddy-duddy, an old fool. I remember, I may have said this, but I don't think they kept it in. I remember editing something once and looking for some library music, and the library music said something like benign hippopotamus. And the music was that. It was boom, ba-dum, 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 boom. And they played that over me trying to do a task on Taskmaster. I don't know if it was benign. It was definitely something hippopotamus.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, if you can imagine some footage of a hippopotamus jogging along, the sort of thing they'd have put on that in 1953.
Absolutely.
On a nature documentary.
It's largely complimentary.
Yeah.
Now, Taskmaster's returning, well, it's not returning, it's moving to Channel 4. If they do another series, would you ever be tempted back? Were they to ask?
Well, I don't think they do that. However, I have said to Alex Horn and also to the producer of Taskmaster that I am prepared to be in a worst of the worst in Taskmaster, because actually I think in Taskmaster that the best thing you can be in it is the worst, because it seemed to me that people laughed a lot, and it is a comedy show, at me being shit, and I wasn't trying to be shit. I just was shit, and luckily that got kind of monetized into laughter during the show. And so there's always one person I understand who's always shit, and I think I was the most shit. Interestingly, or possibly not, if you do a league table, I don't have the least points, but that's because there were 10 shows in my one, and other shows have been less than that. So I think proportionally I was still the most shit. My theory is, right, and worst to the worst, see what you think of this, right, is that Greg Davis should award points based on how bad people are, but if it looks like any of the people on it are trying to be bad, then he has to give them more points. Do you see what I mean? Because the object is to lose, but if you're trying to lose, then that's no good. So I'll do that.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah. I mean, I believe it's me, Nish Kumar, Paul Sinner. I can't remember. There are a few others who are apparently Mark Watson, maybe, who were very shit. And
that's a great lineup, though. I would watch that show. I mean, I normally stop watching X Factor after the first few weeks.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't watch it. I used to watch X Factor all the time, and all that. I don't watch them anymore. I can't. I mean, I feel they've had their day. Also, when my kids were younger, there was quite a nice family element of sitting down to watch that stuff. They now couldn't be less interested now. And so, what's there for me now in X Factor? Exactly. That's the trouble. And the judges. Who are the judges now?
I've got no idea.
Yeah.
But see,
I don't know who the people are singing. I don't know who the judges are.
It's a problem.
I've got a vague idea who Simon Cowell is, but not from his face.
No, not anymore. Well, bits of it.
Yeah. So who knows?
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is for me, I don't watch a lot of things live. Like I record things, but then
in a minute, are you going to watch that live?
No, but I'm going to watch you on a 3-minute delay. If that's okay.
Yeah, fine.
But I mean, I'm going to quickly nip home. I'm going to FaceTime you, leave that there, and I'm sure it won't get stolen. But so I record these shows, and then I look, and there's like 98 episodes of it recorded. And I'm like, I don't have time to watch like 2 days worth of that. So I end up just deleting it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. No, it's hard to watch everything that's on telly these days, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we're now sounding like just old people together talking about it's telly isn't what it used to be.
You're 39.
Yeah, it used to be just 3 channels. It was Street and Morecambe and Wise. Those were the days. But now, it's quite hard to watch everything. I mean, like Better Call Saul, right? Never seen it. And I'm worried that I might never watch it because it's quite. It's been on for like 7 series.
I've seen about 2 series and I kind of got bored of it.
Well, but to get in, I mean, like same with Game of Thrones, right? I thought I'll get into Game of Thrones because I am clearly off the zeitgeist, not having seen Game of Thrones. But then I realised I'm going to have to devote quite a large portion of my life to catching up with Game of Thrones, because it appears to be 2 or 3 years long.
Yes. In real time,
in real time, yeah. If you just sat down and watched what I've missed. So I thought, well, as we know, I haven't got that long left, and I don't know if I can devote it all to catching up on essentially a Dungeons and Dragons program.
There's a way around this. What? You know, when you put an episode on and it says previously on, just watch those bits.
Just watch those bits.
Yeah.
What? And never watch it. You just watch those bits.
Watch those bits.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, I'll see if I can get a compilation of those, and then I can talk very authoritatively about Game of Thrones.
Cut out of all the waffly bits and just show you the highlights.
Yeah, the highlights. Although I think there's quite a lot of nudity in it. Is that in those bits?
It's mostly that is the highlight, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll watch that then.
Absolutely. Now, last time we spoke, you were telling me that we did talk about shopping. We couldn't remember the Tesco Finest range.
Tesco Finest?
Yes.
Oh, we talked about a lot, yeah. Why did we talk about that?
Because we couldn't remember it.
Couldn't remember the Tesco Finest range?
No, but it's not called that.
What is it called? It's not called that, you're right. Is it called Special Nice One?
Yeah.
Don't buy the cheap one, buy the Special Nice One.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, that's what it's called.
I watched it again last night. It's terrible.
Did you check? You could have gone and checked what the Tesco Special Nice One range is. What is it called?
What's it called?
It is the finest.
Finest.
Is it?
I thought it was the best, but it's actually the finest.
It's actually
finest.
It is the finest. Okay, all right.
That's why we can remember it, because we were remembering it, but we thought it wasn't the thing we were remembering.
Right, yeah. I think I may also have said this, is that I'm not convinced that the finest in any supermarket range is the finest. I think that's what they say. Have I said this already on your show last
Not
time?
today.
Not today, no. But I think if anyone, which I don't know how many people do, go back and watch previous episodes of the Sarah O'Connell show, they might say that's what you said last time.
I do, but it apparently hasn't helped.
No, it hasn't helped you remember what the Tesco
probably 12 hours ago
is called. But anyway, yes, I don't believe in it. I think basically, to use the word basically, the basics, which is a thing in Tesco's, is it? Is it Tesco's? Sainsbury's? No, it's Sainsbury's. I did in my show. I've cut it now, but it was funny. Because I show bits tweets I've done, right, and some of it is like saying like, oh, these are mad reactions to this tweet, but this one was just one I wanted to put in because I thought it was funny, because Tesco Basics water, right, their sort of sparkling mineral water, their slogan is definitely not from the tap, which is such a shit slogan, isn't it? Because it just makes you think it is. That's what you think is, well, why have you said that? Why have you brought up the tap?
That's a good point, unless it's from a puddle or something.
Yeah, definitely not from a muddy puddle.
Horrific.
Yeah, it's gone very well. I should put it back in the show.
I know, you should.
Yeah, I might.
Enjoying it.
Okay.
It worked well with this test audience.
Okay, I might do.
Yeah. So, the parent agency, last time we spoke, you told me it was being developed into a film by Fox 2000. Of course, Disney has inconveniently bought and closed Fox 2000. Yeah. What's going on with that?
Yeah, or that. You hit the nail on the head, which is that it got shuttered, Fox 2000. Yes. I believe it's the technical expression. It doesn't actually mean that shutters like this have been put up on it. It means it's just fucked. Well, actually, what happened was Disney did for a while say, no, we're still going to make it. Yeah. And they've got something called Disney Plus, which is their version of Netflix, and they're going to put it on that.
Out here in March.
Yeah, and that was all quite exciting. And then they said, can you rewrite it? I said, are you going to pay me some more money to do that? They said, no. I said, well, then no. And so at the moment, it's not happening with Disney. So that is a shame, although what might happen is that it'll be happening with someone else. Okay. And actually that might be a good thing, because I think that book, my book, The Parent Agency, which I think is really good, and I mean good for being taken and being made into a children's film, into a family film, going the big studio American route might have been the wrong thing with it. Because actually, in my experience, it's always the wrong thing doing that, because it's always like 5 years later you're sort of wondering what happened to your script. So that's what happened.
Oh, I look forward to hearing more, and hopefully it sees the light of day and the light of cinema.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're looking forward to that, because at the moment I felt that just ran aground that story into it's not happening. So it's good that you're looking forward to it. Yeah, because perhaps you'll be your energy, your positive energy towards the parent agency. That'll be what lifts it.
Conjure it to life.
I'm thinking about doing a musical of it. A few people have asked me about stage rights for it.
Yes.
That's happened. 2 or 3 people have asked me about maybe doing a theatrical version of it, and that might be good, I think. So
Do both?
do both, yeah. Although, can I bore you? I mean, and them.
Not so far. You've never managed it in the entire lifetime I've known you.
Might do now. When you sell a film, sell a story, a script, a book, whatever, to a big company like Disney, they tend to own the stage rights as well.
Oh.
So, for example, I don't know if you want me to mention this, but I'm going to.
Love you to.
My mate Tim Firth, he's a playwright, right?
Yes.
He wrote the film of Calendar Girls. He also wrote the film of Kinky Boots, right? But he sold, or the deal that he did basically involved, I think it was Disney as well, owning that. So when there was a musical of it, he didn't get anything for the musical, like nothing. Yeah, and if you go and see Kinky Boots the musical, it's just his script with songs by Cyndi Lauper, and the songs are great. But the book, the script is just written by Tim Firth, and he gets fuck all for it.
That's really bad.
That doesn't feel right, does it?
No, it's not good at all.
No, that's not right. But that's something that tends to happen with big companies. If you sell your thing to a big company, they say, right, well, we own
Every version of it.
every version of it, yeah. So hopefully that won't happen now that Disney have kind of a mere parted company.
Well, I'm going to keep my show off Disney then, because otherwise they'll make my musical without me.
The Sarah O'Connell musical, yeah. No,
I was talking about Tesco.
yeah, that'll be a bit. That'll be a song. That's the closer. The closer of the first half. Or there's a thing in musicals. I think it's called the 11 o'clock. It's called the 11 o'clock number.
Okay.
Do you know about that? I hope I've got that number. It might be like the 6 o'clock number, but I think it's the 11 o'clock number. Even though a musical tends to end at 10:30.
Very true.
Seems a bit weird, but there's a number that's meant to be in the middle of the second half, which is kind of often sung by a woman who's in some sort of terrible grief or whatever, hoping that her song is going to turn things round. And that's called an 11 o'clock number, and it's the song in a musical that people sort of cry and stomp their feet afterwards and whatever. So that could be about Tesco's finest in the Sarah O'Connell show.
That feels right to me.
No. If you put a lot of passion and energy into it, it'll be an emotional song about how you still don't know what Tesco's top range is called.
See, I couldn't perform that myself because I'd forget the words every night. It's a problem.
That is a problem. That is a problem. Although if you really, really acted it out, that would be part of what was brilliant about it.
I think so.
You could go Tesco's. You'd have to guess.
Yeah.
Best, finest, nicest, loveliest. What is it? And people would be crying and
They'd be shouting out and joining in.
it'd be interactive.
Yeah, we could say things that are wrong and the audience could shout out no, and it'd just be really good.
It'd be amazing. The Sarah O'Connell musical. Has that happened? Is that people been...
I think this is the start of it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to take to producers.
Yeah, just this.
Yes.
This conversation.
Yeah, that should do it.
I think it'll do it, yeah, definitely.
Can't see why I'd need more than that.
Well, it might need a story beyond the Tesco's finest bit.
Really?
Yeah, but I think probably like the 2 shows that we've done will be enough, like first half and second half.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can just convert the entire conversation.
Yeah. Well, it should rhyme more.
Well, it's about to then.
Okay.
I'm going to make everything rhyme from now on, and it won't take long to convert it into a song.
Brilliant. You've turned into Whose Line Is It Anyway? Well done.
Thank you very much.
Like Josie Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that respect.
In that sense.
In that sense, yeah.
Related question.
Yeah.
You've taken the idea of In Bed with Madonna, and you've done Sleeping with David Baddiel, the Audible podcast.
I don't know if it was like In Bed... Do you mean In Bed with Medina, the Bob Mills 90s television programme? Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm referring to the Madonna biopic.
Yeah, the original was, of course, the biopic.
Yeah.
You said biopic?
Yeah.
I think it's biopic, isn't it? Biopic sounds like myopic.
It sounds like a yogurt.
Well, it does sound like... It also sounds like short-sightedness.
Yeah.
Myopic, which, of course, that'd be a good rhyme. I'm so myopic, I can't say biopic. Doesn't really make sense. But anyway, In Bed with Madonna was a film about Madonna, a sort of documentary with Warren Beatty in it and stuff. Whereas In Bed with Medina was a show that Bob Mills did very late night on Channel 4, probably, possibly even ITV, in which he showed VHSs of quizzical things and commented on them.
Very true. And you've added to that trilogy, haven't you, now, with Sleeping with David Baddiel?
I have, yeah. It's very much a follow-on from those things. Except Sleeping with David Baddiel is a podcast about insomnia.
It's true. And incidentally, I signed up to Audible to listen to that. Turns out it's free.
That's good. When you say you signed up, well, you had to pay for that.
You sign up to Audible, so you get an account and stuff.
It turns out it's free, as if you paid for it, and then...
No. When you sign up, you get a free token thing, which is relevant, so I could use that for anything, which is fine. But I just wanted to listen to the podcast.
Okay.
And I did that, and I used... No, I didn't.
No.
I was genuinely listening to it at 4:30 in the morning, because I have sleeping problems too.
Did it help?
Well, it's very informative. So I found out, for example, that coffee only energizes you for about 30 minutes. So if you're driving, that's not good. And it was recommended to sleep for 20 minutes will give you a bigger energy boost.
Yeah.
So I genuinely listened to it.
Okay, that's good.
And then the bit that kept me awake a bit longer was talking about people that can die from sleeping, and that was worrying for me.
Yeah.
So then I thought about that for a
can't
few
sleep.
hours.
Well, that's one of the
true.
advantages of not sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
Is you're unlikely to be one of those people who die from sleep.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's one of the, because there's not many advantages to not sleeping.
Can't die in your sleep if you don't sleep.
Exactly, but lack of sleep death is the big one.
Yeah.
I would say. But yeah, I did do a podcast for Audible called Sleeping with David Baddiel. That was, they came to me and asked me to do it, and I'm doing it, and then they tell me what the title is, and I thought, cheeky. Clearly, that's quite a cheeky title, and no one had told me, because I thought it was going to be called, Insomnia with David Baddiel, or, having trouble getting to sleep. Ask David Baddiel. Something like that. Something like snappy like that.
Yeah,
but
I added the new romantic novel by David Baddiel, Sleeping with David Baddiel, and
yeah, exactly.
And it was.
I wrote a novel called Time for Bed
Yeah.
in the 90s, which was partly about insomnia, and I was quite happy with Time for Bed as a title. But they went with Sleeping with David Baddiel, and I enjoyed it. Actually, there's a guy I do it with called Guy Leschner. I couldn't pronounce his name in the entire podcast. I still can't. Guy Leschner. Sorry if you're listening, Guy.
Dr. Guy.
Dr. Guy, and Dr. Guy is one of the world's foremost sleep neurologist experts, and the way that we did it was that there was always a sense that I was in bed with Guy. In bed with Guy Leschner. I was supposed to be in bed with Madonna or Medina, and
I've been in bed with Medina, but that's different.
in bed with Guy Leschner does rhyme with in bed with Medina, sort of.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, Guy would say to me at the end of every podcast, "Good night, David," and I would say, "Good night, Guy," and it was very lovely. Yeah, and I hope that people
Does
listen
he still do that?
every night. Yeah.
That was nice.
Well, I think it's a bit weird. I've called
Yeah.
the police. The podcast's over. What are you still doing in my house?
Exactly.
I've said,
He
Dr. Guy.
stands there motionless until you go to bed.
I know, yeah, no, but he's,
Doesn't acknowledge you.
to be fair, it's part of his job. He's very, very keen that I should get to sleep.
Exactly.
Although I find him frightening in my room. Doesn't help me get to sleep at all.
Not ideal, is
No,
it?
it's not. Get out, Dr. Guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can listen to that, and it might help you go to sleep. Some people have said it's helped them go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken it on the chin that something I've done has made people go to sleep. But that's one of the, it's a rare thing.
In a good way.
In a good way, exactly. It's rare that you can say, oh, people have gone, zzz, this is really, and you think, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's meant to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as bees, they do that too.
Bees do that too, but they
do that.
sting you. And then they die.
Yeah. It's
I've always thought that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like evolutionary terms, that's a bit wrong.
You know they meant it. If they sting you,
Yes.
you did something.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
It must have really pissed them off.
Yeah.
Because, if I died of something that involved, like, I'm pissed off, right? So, for example, right, if I'm coming to the Portsmouth Guildhall
Yeah.
and someone says to me, oh, it's over there, right? And then it turns out not to be over there. They're giving me the wrong directions. It's unlikely that I would go back to them and say, for Christ's sake, that's really annoying.
Yeah.
If saying, that's Christ's sake, it's really annoying, meant that I immediately died. Right? I mean, it'd be quite traumatic for them for a start, but also I would contain myself and think like, well, I'm annoyed they've given me the wrong direction,
Yes.
but if I get angry about it and call them out, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So for a bee, right, they must be absolutely livid before they sting you. And I'll tell you, have you been stung?
No, I haven't.
I haven't been stung very often, but I was stung once when I put my foot in a Wellington boot and there was a bee in there. Obviously, it'd be weird if I wasn't bee in there and I was stung.
Yeah.
And looking back on
Except
it,
for the prize.
yeah, looking back on it, I can see how the bee thought, well, this is a life-threatening situation. There's a big monster thing with 5 toes
Coming into my cave.
coming into my cave. Right, this is clearly I'm going to have to sting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, if the bee had thought about it, it was like, wait a minute. What's the worst that can happen here? I get squashed, right? Then I'm going to die. So what might happen is I don't get squashed. I crawl up. I get out of it. Zzz, I'm away. I get honey, nice life, dancing for the other bees, all that stuff they do. But if I sting him, I'm dead anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not a logical way of going about things.
You also wonder if they know that will happen to them.
It's a bit all or nothing, I think.
Yeah.
Do they know it will happen to them? That is such an existential question. Does a bee know when it stings someone it will die? How will we ever find this out?
I don't know. There's no, well, it's like the whole religion thing. There's no way to find out. That's the thing of it.
Maybe there is
Oh,
scientifically.
there might be, yeah.
Maybe there is. Maybe that.
A way to communicate with them.
No, not communicate with them because I doubt it. But although I've just written a children's book I've started writing a children's book, and part of it's set in the future. And in the future, animals have evolved to speak.
Yes.
Although I don't know if I include insects in that. So far, I haven't met an insect in it. It's a parrot and a cat who are speaking, but bees might evolve to speak. I still think they'd be quite buzzy. I think you'll have to say what? Yeah, all I can hear is zzz, and they're talking to you.
Maybe they can talk to snakes.
Why? Because snakes go
similar.
quite similar.
Yeah.
I think they'd still mainly be talking about honey.
It's true.
Like what else are they going to talk about? And also
Cheese.
and also the existential quandary of whether or not it's worth stinging someone because you die.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But anyway, I think they might create an experiment. Scientists are good at that.
I think they might, yeah.
Experiment that they'll like put some bees here, and they'll put some honey here, and then they'll put a Wellington boot here, and they'll work out whether or not they know that they're going to die.
Yeah.
I might Google that after you've gone.
Yeah.
Do bees know whether or not
Are they suicidal? Do they do it on purpose?
suicidal? Are they kamikaze? Yeah. I mean, what I'd be interested in, right, is an experiment where you make a bee quite annoyed,
Yes.
and you see what is the point at which the bee tips over from just being quite annoyed, but I'm not going to sting because, you know, I've still got flowers to look at, and I've still got, you know, honey to get back to the hive. I've got lots to live for.
Yeah.
And then you annoy it a bit more,
That's
and
the final
it's like,
straw.
fuck it, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You're a bit hurty, but I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh, see, the thing is too, they don't know the effect of their sting because they never get to see the result of it. They probably assume they're going to kill the thing they're stinging. So
Yes.
to them, they're happy. They might die happy.
Yes, that's true. Well, the bee that stung me thought, as you said earlier, that it's some sort of monster with 5. I can't think of anything else but toes. That's weird, because what I'm trying to do there is imagine it from the bee's point of view.
Yes.
But all I can think of is
Are you
toes.
barefooted?
Yeah, no, I probably wasn't.
No.
I had a sock on.
Human footed?
I had a sock on.
Yes.
What did you say? Human footage?
Yeah, not barefooted.
I was human footed, which meant I had a sock on.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I had a sock on, maybe it thought it was a dinosaur.
Yeah,
That seems to me like the most like what you might think a big. If you're a tiny bee, right, and a sock appears like that, it's a dinosaur, isn't
So
it?
here's a thought though. Once your foot went in there, the cascade of light pouring down from the top of the boot would be gone and it would be shrouded in darkness. So perhaps it didn't even see the foot coming towards it. And can you engage a sting by treading on a bee? Will it just pop out? By treading on a fork?
A fork?
Yeah, or something pointy.
It's not. No, that's different. If you
No, I wouldn't eat with a bee.
trod on a drawing pin.
Yeah.
I've trod on a drawing pin as well. Stod on a drawing pin. I've stod on it. I've trod on a drawing pin.
You have?
I have, and it's painful.
Yes.
But that's straightforward. That's like going. That's like a pin. It's going. I don't know if you just. What you're saying there is it's inadvertent stingingness from the bee.
If you apply pressure to a bee
Yeah.
and the pointy bit is sticking up at you, will it still go in you?
I'm not sure, and really, you know what we need? A bee expert.
We do.
What are they called?
I don't know.
Okay, a bee spurt.
I know, that sounds like a mess.
Yeah, a mass.
Mess.
A mess, yeah.
Yeah, bee spurt.
A bee spurt. What we need is someone to tell us, because I don't know
No.
whether a bee needs to activate its sting. That's the point. I'm not sure if you step on a bee. I'll tell you another time I got stung. I forgot this, right? I was playing football in Italy.
Yeah.
And this is a good example, like in Taskmaster, a lot of sort of like ridiculously appropriate shit things happen to me. So I'm playing football in Italy. I've gone to Italy to play football with a bunch of mates, and I'm in my room, like where we're waiting to go and play football.
Yeah.
And a hornet, like a massive hornet, suddenly appears in my room, and it is dying. I haven't done anything to it. It's dying. It's on the floor. It's whizzing round and round and round, and I'm sort of watching it, and then suddenly it sort of whizzes towards me, and it stings me on my toe, and I got an enormous, great big foot, like a sort of comedy gout foot, like I might as well, like, you know, Dr. Johnson, like Samuel Johnson. Often you see him with his foot up, and he's got an enormous bandage on it, and someone walks past and they hit it with a stick, and he goes, "Oh!" It's like that. And I had to play with one boot and one enormous plimsoll. Now,
Ideal.
I'm not ideal, no, and I'm not sure that hornet knew what it was doing. I think it was just dying, and it thought, I'm going to take someone down with me.
Or maybe it had a bet on. And it was trying to influence the...
On the football.
Yeah.
Well, only for its children, because it was definitely dead. Yeah, I don't think they could cash it in. I don't know what. I'm now trying to do a Paddy Power joke.
We'll get there.
I don't know if I ever will.
Just setting yourself up for the third interview.
William Hill, Paddy Power, what else is there? Coral. No, none of them.
That's good for an aquatic joke.
No, yeah, that would be good if what we're talking about is jellyfish stings. If we'd said it'd gone to coral, that would have been brilliant. Can you imagine if this whole conversation had been jellyfish stings and you'd done that betting thing and I'd have said, yeah, he'd probably put the bet in at coral. I mean, people would have been on their feet at home. Perhaps
Them falling over.
can cut it so it's that.
Have a bloody go.
And I'm not sure that jellyfish knew what it was doing. I think it was just dying and it thought, I'm going to take someone down with me.
Or maybe it had a bet on. It was trying to influence the...
On the football. Yeah, he'd probably put the bet in at coral. Look, Sarah, I'm going to have to go.
Bye.
I've got a show to do.
That's fine.
And I can't like use all my comedy just in your show. I've got like people out there in Portsmouth I have to entertain.
So watch this then. Speaking of which, you got a brand new show out. What's it called? What's it about?
It's called Trolls Not the Dolls. It's about social media. It's about my adventures in social media. It's me talking about how mad and angry and overreactive everyone is now. And also about just like some of the sort of very funny things that I've got into on social media, some of the very funny, weird conversations that I've got into. And also just about how 11 years on Twitter means that I've got, like, I never could keep a diary when I was young, but now I have kept a diary because I've written something down 4 times, 5 times a day for 11 years. So I've gone back on it and I've found sort of like, oh, fuck, I thought that in 2014 or whatever. And so it's basically structures a show around my Twitter feed.
Very exciting.
I hope so. Yeah.
Now, the name of the show has the same structure of several of your others.
Trolls Not the Dolls. Yeah.
Fame Not the Musical.
Yeah. Can I tell you something?
Yes.
And this also is an example, I think, of my fading brain, which is I did a little promotional film about Trolls Not the Dolls. And it's out on the internet now, in which I say all my shows are called Not The. And I say Fame Not the Musical.
Yeah.
My Family Not the Sitcom, Trolls Not the Dolls. But then I say, so the not the is a lie. And I watched that the other day, I thought, no, it isn't. It's not a lie, because it's not a sitcom, it's not a musical, and this is not about dolls. Right. So there isn't a lie. Why did I say that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got an idea for your next one.
What?
Make it a political show. Yeah. Trump's Not the Farts.
Okay.
It's a deal. It's announced. This is huge.
Trump's Not the Farts. There is quite a lot about Trump in this show.
Excellent.
So should I cut that stuff? Because I don't want to waste it when it can all go and Trump's Not the Farts.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to do anything else, is he? So that's probably...
No, that's true. It's over now. Yeah, all the comedy's gone with Trump. Trump Not the Farts. You heard it here first.
Smelled it here second.
Yeah, and second. Yeah.
So the tagline.
I look forward to the threequel anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you have a new book out, which I conveniently carry with me at all times.
Here it is. It's actually been out for a while.
Yes.
It's called The Taylor Turbochaser, and it's one of my children's books, because I write them now. And it's about a disabled 11-year-old girl whose electric wheelchair is sort of pimped, as it were, pimped her ride. That's what I mean. It's like turbocharged into a supercar by her inventor friend Raoul, and her and her gang of friends all drive it to Scotland. And that's what it is. And apparently your daughter is a fan.
She's a fan. Would you care to sign it for her?
Yeah, what's her name? That's quite straightforward.
Yeah.
These days, we like to go for, exotic and different names. We're talking could have been that name in 1962.
Could have been.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
Which would be a surprise, because she'd be 18 years older than me.
It'd be a surprise. But, it'd be interesting.
Oh, her name's not very interesting, but my daughter is 18 years older than me. Very interesting.
Also, her name, a hyphen name.
No.
Oh.
Well, it is a name that's high fun.
It's high fun, but it's not a hyphen. My middle name is Lionel.
It's true.
It is true. It is Lionel. There's two things about that I can tell you. One is that I was named after my dad's best mate, Lionel.
Yes.
And then in 1980, I was always quite embarrassed about it. It's quite an embarrassing name, Lionel. And then in 1981 or 82, Lionel sold my dad an Austin Princess. It's a car. And about 2 weeks later, it broke down, and my dad never spoke to him again. And yet I was still saddled with the fucking name. When I say he never spoke to him again, my dad now has dementia, as you will know from seeing my last show. And we brought Lionel to see my dad when we were doing a film of him for Channel 4, with a film called The Trouble with Dad, about my dad and his illness. We brought Lionel to meet my dad, which is the first time they've met since. And of course my dad's now forgotten that they had this thing. But then there was a brilliant moment where Lionel appeared. He had his clarinet, because Lionel plays the clarinet, and he'd come to play my dad some songs on the clarinet, which in any other film would have been a lovely moment, but with my dad it just involved him going, oh fucking hell. He's like really didn't want to hear them. Anyway, when Lionel first appeared, he said, hello Colin, that's my dad's name, I'm Lionel, your old mate Lionel. And my dad said, no you're not. And he went, I am. And he went, no, you don't look like him. And Lionel said, I do. I really do look like him, which I thought was kind of brilliant. And the other thing is, one of my earliest jokes involved my name, which is I said that you think Lionel isn't a cool name, but actually LL Cool J's real name is Lionel Cool J.
Did there? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's true.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something like you were going to say, I'm kind of a big Baddiel.
No, it's just a lie I made up about LL Cool J.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to go.
Yes.
It's been beautiful as ever.
It has been magnificent. Yeah. So finally, David Baddiel, have you got any messages for your fans and everyone watching the Sarah O'Connell show?
Well, number one, come and see Trolls Not the Dolls if it's still going on when this goes out. I'm doing it in Australia as well at the end, so obviously you've got Australian fans, so come and see that. It's in Australia in May. Buy the Turbochaser for your children, but most of all, watch the Sarah O'Connell show, because it's a great show, and I'm on it quite a lot.
You are?
Yeah. I'm a regular.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You have lots of fibre.
I have lots of fibre.
Yeah, that's why you're regular.
Oh, I see.
David Baddiel, thank you again for coming back on the show. I look forward to this recall, and thank you everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Bye.